And we're back with another weekly analysis. Hi guys, welcome back to your YouTube channel here at TrinFx. My name is Josh, aka the Home Fletcher, founder and owner of the TrinFx Discord and Telegram community, as well as this channel. Obviously, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, welcome back to another weekly analysis video. And we're gonna dive in real quick into taking a look at this week, what we have coming up. And as you know, I love starting with the fundamentals. Okay, I say this all the time, and I'm gonna keep on saying it till the day I die and stop trading forex. Fundamentals move the markets. All right, so we need to be aware of the fundamental catalysts that we do have in the markets. And one of the good ways to know what we have coming up is by going to the site here, My FX Book. It's a publicly owned and easy accessible website, and from here you can see all the major fundamental news that we do have coming up for each economy and what we could pay attention to, right? And usually I just take a look at the high impactful news events here. So you can see that we have the grunt of news coming out the Tuesday, right? And one thing that I'm really particularly interested in looking at right now is the GBP, right? So looking at the pound dollar, we have employment change coming out. Looking to see a more bearish number. All right, so the consensus from the previous is even lesser of the previous. So that's negative 14,000, right? So this is going to be a bearish move for the pound if the number does come out as that. We also have unemployment rate, so unemployment looking to be slightly higher. Also, that would be bad for the pound dollar. We also have API crude oil exchange, right? Crude oil stock change numbers. This is something also that would affect not the US economy on a whole, but more so oil for the US and maybe the Canadian dollar, as that what would that mean for the country as well. And just a little segue. If you don't know, the Canadian economy is a large exporter of oil, right? They import oil to the US. And with that, a lot of the times when we do have changes in oil prices or we have any oil related news, there's a correlation with the Canadian dollar. All right, just the other day we had from Saudi Arabia, right? We had oil exchange. Well, they had a decrease in the amount of oil that they are exporting, and that did in turn give a boost on the Canadian dollar, as that means that there will be more exportation or more expectancy of a demand of oil coming out from Canada's economy, right? Which in turn would increase the rate of their currency. Okay, so the more demand there is for a certain product, the more you can see an economy's currency or see a rise in stock, right, in prices. So that really was bullish for the Canadian dollar. Wednesday here we also have some more GBP news coming up with GDP, the month-over-month average. So we're expecting a decrease from the previous, right? We can see the previous was 0.5%. The consensus is seeing a negative 0.2% decrease. Okay, so a lot of bearish tone for the GBP that we do have coming up. We also have the goods trader balance looking to be slightly less, right? But yeah, overall still a very bearish tone right now for the pound dollar. That's the outlook that we have going in. For the USD, we have inflation, core inflation, and you can see a lot of different inflationary numbers here. Now the ones I'm paying attention to is the core inflation month-over-month average, and we also have the inflation rate year-to-year comparison for the August. Looking to see a slight increase, right? So by 0.4%, and this is enough to put the dollar downwards some more, because as not downwards, upwards, right? Because as inflationary levels do rise, that means that we could see interest rates increasing, or the Fed actually project another interest rate increase before the year finishes. So these are some of the things that we could expect coming for the dollar. We could expect to see a slight increase on the DXY, and we also have CPI, right? CPI numbers looking to be positive as well. So a slight increase as well could possibly lead into some dollar strengthening. After that, we have ADP, employment change, right? And unemployment rate. Unemployment rate looking to go down, employment change looking to increase, which is great for the AUD. Now with the AUD, there are some things that we need to be aware of, such as what's going on with China as a lot of China's current news with their GDP and overall production and whatnot is really affecting the risk assets such as the AUD, because they do rely heavily on each other, right? So usually when we do see some China related news, it would affect the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. The Aussie dollar more so than any of the other currencies. The Thursday, we also have ECB interest rates. We're going to see interest rates remain the same, okay? So I'm not going to be particularly trading the euro with this in mind. Alright, obviously we'll take a look at the charts and see what sort of setups that we can get. I am overall right now bullish on the CAD. So for me, maybe with the interest rate decision that we do have, it could lead into some euro CAD short continuations, and that'll be sort of my play for this week coming up. Alright, we have retail sales, and you can see a slight decrease, and a lot of USD news right here. So a bulk of USD news coming out together at 8:30. So we would see a very volatile move on the US dollar, perhaps. Alright, with all these mixed data, some of them positive, some of them negative. Jobless claims going down, which is great. But at the same time, we also have retail sales looking to go down as well, right? Which is not great. That just shows that there's sort of a lack in economic spending. So a mixture of data, right? So retail sales, yeah, the year comparison going down, jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. Yeah, so there's a mix of data here. So I don't know whether the analysis, the consensus here is accurate, or if it's just, I don't know, but just a mixture of data here. So I would say for now, it's just wait until after the news, we see what happens here, and at that point, maybe we might get a trade setup trading cost of the day. But yeah, hopefully we make the grunt of our profit before that, so you don't really have to deal up with all of this just all of that mess, right? We had the ECB press conference, so that's something to pay attention to. What it said there would lead into future expectations for the euro dollar. Friday, not much, right? So Friday, yeah, not much going on Friday. Just some ECB speech again from ECB representative Laurent, right? And that's about it. Nothing really else to pay attention to here. We also have some China news related here, but this is like any night, right? So I'm not going to be at that trading specific session. They're really not going to matter to me. So yeah, that's about it right now that we have coming up for the economic calendar. So let's take a look at the currency pairs, what we could have coming up. Alright, so one thing that I am paying attention to right now is EuroCAD. So EuroCAD, we did get a trade on this. It played out for around, I believe, a 1 to 4.5, almost 5%. I can pull that up real quick into the Discord, and you guys can see that. The last trade sent, we had 2 trades that sent last. So EuroCAD, this was the sell. You see we entered the trade right here. It was a riskier trade because we had news coming up. You love to see it. We closed right here. So this was around, I think, around that 4 percentile mark. And then CAD CHF, we were able to get slight profits. We exited, and I'm going to show you guys where we exited from. Right, so we exited right around this area here, so slightly right here before price do all that is pull back up, and then we're coming back down into that zone. Right, overall we are strong still with the Canadian dollar, and this was just a move based off of the CAD news that we did have, right? So CAD news did come in strong, price pulled up. At that point where we came into the resistance level, was expecting to see some sort of pullback, and at that point we saw that alright, price was failing to pull lower. That rejection candle, this wick here happened, right? And then we start seeing that bullish candle form, right? This candle didn't just form all of a sudden one time. Initially we did have this candle right here. If you take a look at the 30-minute, price pulled up here, right? At that point, since it decided to flip upwards, pull back down, and not flip bearish, we got out of the trade, because that usually can tell you that alright, maybe there's some buying pressure going to come in, or some weakness is going to happen in price. So yeah, we were able to manage that pretty well. So for this week, again, EuroCAD is one of the things that I'm looking at right now. Obviously, what I want to see, and going into that this week, I want to see a continuation to the downside. Alright, so I am more on the sell side in terms of my overall bias for EuroCAD. Obviously, if market conditions do change, then I'm not one to be, staunch or just bias, if you don't mind bias, if the market conditions do change on me. But for now, as everything is going, it does seem like more of a bearish tone, bearish expectancy for price. All right, so CAD bullishness pretty good. Taking a look here at the daily, come down. Maybe we may have some levels to pay attention to. This will be my next targeted level here, right? If prices continue downwards, take a look at the 4 hour. Obviously, what we want to see is price break lower below the structure right here for a continuation even lower, right? So this being the target level. Want to see that break downwards, but yeah, this looks like a good trade setup for me right now, and the more likelihood that this may continue going down. All right, let's just take a quick look at the DXY as well. So at the DXY, you can see very strong, very bullish. Price did push above this resistance zone here, so this was a pretty major resistance zone. We got that push above, and now price was continuing that bullishness. Now for this week, obviously with any trending movement that we do have pullbacks in between. So I am going to be more cautious to, possibly seeing a pullback on this. Maybe price may come and retest before continuing up. All right, this is something that happens a lot of times with currency pairs. However, given the current bullishness that we do have on the dollar right now, I would say, all right, these are the two things I'll be looking at. One, is price able to push past above this level? Or two, if we do pull back, how long is that pullback going to last? Maybe pullback might just be within this zone here, and then we get a continuation going up. Obviously, this is just the dollar strength indicator, and that would give us a good example as what we could expect from the Canadian dollar as well as the US dollar. All right, as independent cross pairs, not together, because we do have some correlation between the two. With that being said, I do think at this point we could continue with the bullishness, so it wouldn't deter me from my EuroCAD positioning bias that I did have before, right? So yeah, that's it for the DXY. Overall, we do have some news coming up for the US economy. Whether it's going to be bullish or bearish, we won't know until the news do come up, because we have a mix of data coming out, right? AUD. So I really do like the AUD pairs right now. If I have to say, my favorite pairs to trade is usually the AUD and probably AUD, GBP, and then the Euro. I would say that's like the order in which all of them fall into. But for now, with the AUD stuff, not really much to really say, right? Price has been making back and forth. As I said, a large portion of the price movement that we did have from the Australian dollar is just based off of the economics with China, as well as their relationship together with each other, right? So expectancy, maybe we could continue moving bearish, who knows? With that being said, AUD USD looks pretty good for bearish continuations, right? Very strong bearish candle. This daily candle did push higher, right? But obviously we did have that close coming into that daily zone, right? So below that daily opening, we had the close, and that's why the candle is currently bearish. Now, with that being said, continuation. Yeah, from a 1 hour perspective, not the most prettiest pair right now. I would say if I'm to continue with a sell bias, I would like to see price push into this zone right here firstly, right? This being the more specific zone I want to see price push into other than anything else. Just delete this, sorry. Right? All of this, we have wick rejections at these levels here. Wick rejection here, wick rejection here. At this point, if price does manage to pull into this level, this deep retracement back into this level, I do think at that point we could see a break and continuation. Now, this is on the USD cross pair, and the US dollar is known for its shiftiness. So I would say that this here, even though it's great from a technical aspect and fundamentally sound as well, the US dollar is a tricky one to trade. So I would say, trade with caution. Don't over risk as well, and just be patient, right? Because even though we are expecting the move to continue moving down, you can see all this wick back and forth that price has been known to do, right? So price wicked up here, pull back here, came up, pull down, wick from here, started range in, wick back down, and you see all of that range, pull down, pulled up, pull down, and It's just like no real continuation movement, just sort of like a ranging zone. So I would say, yeah, I advise caution when you are going to trade something like this. For me, I would like to wait to see price actually pull into that zone first before looking for possible sell opportunities on this, right? But overall, sell bias on all the AUD pairs right now. This was also an AUD card trade that we took as well. Well, I took personally, and I believe this was the first trade that we actually entered on the AUD pairs, right? Because hold on, let me just go here. Right, so like, yeah, September 7th, and the 7th, that was right before the actual you can see here, right, that was the Thursday, right before we had the news and stuff on Friday. This was like my early entry here because we were at a key resistance zone overall on the technical aspect, and was looking to see price continue moving downwards. Now we did get that move, however, you know, price went back up first before that move continued. So yeah, this was one of the trade ideas that we did have. Price was looking to continue moving down from here. We did start to move down a little bit, then price went up, and all of that nonsense happened, and then we came back down here with cash strength, right? Which is what we initially wanted to see. But markets being markets, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It is what it is. You can't let the losses deter you from making profits, right? Or have you questioning your trading bias or, you know, strategy that you implement for yourself. Now, with that being said, overall still very much clear to the downside. Looking to see price move lower. Some key things, want to see price push below these levels here, right? These are my main levels. Looking for price to actually push for those continuations. If we take a look from the daily time frame, we are running into a lot of resistance, a lot of support, right? So you might see price wicking back and forth, doing the same thing like it did here, all these long spindly wicks, which is really not the best that you want to have when it comes to price action. Especially me, I do utilize tight stops usually. So yeah, this is not the best trading condition for me, admittedly, but I would like to see price continue moving down. So for me right now, guys, it's just the Euro card. Euro card look like the most tradable pair. Alright, the GBP stuff, all of them is displaying the same thing. We also have the news coming up. So GBP overall looking pretty bearish. Alright, this was one of the trades that we got in earlier this last week as well. Alright, one of the main trades actually that we got into, which was looking for a swing trade for price to continue all the way up here. But you can see that we did make a rejection here, came back up, rejected at that point. So we were able to take the maximum amount of profits this allowed to give us on the buy side, and then price started coming back down, right, which was within the expectancy as well. So I don't know, with the AUD being weak, GBP looking to be weak as well, this is not going to be a good tradable pair for me personally, and I am learning the art of trading less, gaining more, quality over quantity, as they say. So yeah, you can see just choppiness, GBP card, clearest one. GBP NZD displaying some clarity, you know, price action could continue moving downwards. A pretty nice movement right here, so this is a great trend. Alright, so this would be like one area you could possibly buy into for a setup. Alright, take a look from the daily perspective down to the 4-hourly. Daily price came into this area, we rejected from it. Right now, with the new day upon us, the new week coming up, we could possibly see a continuation back into these major supportive levels, right? Well, resistance, then support, right? So maybe this might be a pullback within the major move. Who knows? But right now, with the GBP weakness being expected, I do think that, all right, this is also a very good potential trade setup as well. All right. So a possible short setup, price will go, you know, shorter here, and stops right above this level here. So this is something that I think has a lot of potentiality to actually play out, and it's a good trade. I'm not gonna lie, this is a good trade. I am tempted by it to, you know, to take it. The NZD itself isn't bearish in terms of tone overall, with the risk sentiment itself being bearish. However, it is more of a riskier gambit to actually take, right? Risk sentiment, risk calculations would affect the AUD as well as the NZD, and to some degree also the GBP. But with that being said, I don't know. Fundamentally wise, GBP bearishness is going to set in, so we could see that continuation to the downside. But yeah, it's a difficult one to say really from a fundamental aspect. Technically though, it does seem sound. So I don't know if this is a trade setup that you like. If you're a technical analysis trader, then this might be something that's appealing to you. However, for me, I would say I advise caution, right? With everything that we do have coming up, maybe the Tuesday would be the best time to actually take a possible trade setup for the bearish side, right? Because you have bearish news coming out, so obviously that will act as a catalyst to actually see some movement in that price action, right? So this is something that I would wait. I'll wait to actually see the Tuesday wherever price lands. If we continue moving bearish, then obviously you look for the pullback situation scenarios to continue bear. If you're going to see a bearish breakout, then great, you can use that to your advantage. But for now, yeah, my only thing right now on my docket is the Euro card. Best possible trade for me. Might enter somewhere here, looking for price to continue moving downwards, or I will just wait until price reaches into the zone and then look to actually take my first position for price to play lower. And yeah, that's about it right now. Now we do have gold, and gold, I called this out in the last weekly analysis video, right? Gold was like somewhere right around here, I believe somewhere up here or something like that. And I was like, all right, we're gonna see that bearish continuation. If we get a break here, you're gonna see price continue bearish, and so said, so done, a whole correction of this initial move that we did have up here, right? And we did see that happening. Now for the continuations on gold, are we going to see a continuation? Or are we going to see gold doing sort of a ranging movement? Now obviously this also falls on US dollar, whether it's going to be showing some USD strength, we'll get that continuation lower, or if we're going to see some asset one buying, we may get to see gold actually push higher. So really it's all about where the news does land for us, and that would impact the price action movement on something like gold and the indices as well. NAS 100, US 30 will have similar movements. However, with NAS 100, I do think overall though we could see a full correction of this move right back up into these levels here. So this would be one area I'm looking to see price possibly correct back into. Take a look at the 4-hour and the daily, right? These are interesting zones right now for me. All right, so that's it right now, guys. Really not much else to say. We have to wait and see how markets treat us, what sort of opening we do get as market open, as well as when the news does come out, how that fundamentally impacts the price action movement. So we'll have to wait and see. And this is the thing, trading requires patience sometimes. It's easy to want to force a trade, and it's hard, right? It's really hard to understand that, okay, even if you want to force a trade, that trade isn't going to play out because of the fact you're forcing it. And maybe that doesn't make sense to you right now, but let's sit there, let it kind of simmer in your mind a little bit, and you will understand. A lot of the times, especially for new traders, what we like to do, and something that we get into the habit of doing, is forcing trades from the market, right? The market moves on its own timing. We have to display patience, we have to be disciplined, we have to follow our trading rules and risk management that we set aside for ourselves in order to actually be profitable. And if you're a trader, you have a small account and stuff like that, it's going to be more tasking for you to do that, because your gains or your returns from that account isn't going to be as much as, let's say, the 7-figure trader, the 6-figure trader, the one with the 200, 100K account, and the one with the $1 million account, compared to your measly $5,000, $10,000 account, right? I was just saying, I was loved it. Trading is not for the swift, it's not a race, but a marathon. You're here in it for the long run, and you need to have discipline and patience with yourself, alright, especially with the market. So hopefully that helps you guys with your trading journey, as well as anybody out there that you see something you want to get into because it looks like it looks good, but it doesn't really line up with your trading rules, doesn't really line up with your strategy. right? But you need to make some money. You're hard on money right now. If you could make this $100, that would be great. That you shouldn't be thinking like that when it comes to trading. Alright, something I like to focus on. I just like to focus on taking the best possible trading setups I could get. Obviously, whatever lot size I do implement and stuff, that will become monetary value game. But I don't focus on that. I focus on the setups themselves, on the charts themselves, getting into the best possible trade setups, and the side result or the results of that would be making a profit or decent profit, right? So hopefully that helps you guys with your trading journey. If you're not starting, if you're new, or if you're seasoned, experienced, whatever the case is. Alright guys, so thank you very much for joining on this weekly analysis video. If you learned anything new, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and comment as well. What are some of the things that you're watching right now? Do you trade fundamentals, technicals, or do you use a mixture of both like myself? Alright, so let me know what you guys are thinking. Thank you very much for joining, and peace. Have a great weekend and a great trading week.